Hey everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. Some more super cool new inventory tonight, courtesy of our good friend Tractor Mike. Tractor Mike hangs out with us on here some. He is a tractor guru. He has some old cars and trucks sitting around, and he always keeps an eye out for me on stuff that he thinks I might like as well. This actually is an old truck that he brought in here a while back. He called me and says, I'm heading your way, I'm loading some stuff up, I'm bringing one home. He said, you're bringing one home? I said, I'm bringing one home. He said, I was looking around trying to decide what I'm going to load. I saw this, I had to load it, it's on the trailer, it's coming to you. I said, okay, I guess we'll figure it out when it gets here. But this old 65 GMC, actually he was still using up until 3 or 4 years ago for seed wheat. Got stuck, parked around the back corner of the building, hadn't used it the last couple years. He said, I needed to get it out of my way. He said, I'm loading it up and I'm bringing it home. I said, okay. So we got it here, we got it unloaded, and it's a pretty good old truck. Let's go check it out and let's see what he was talking about. The old V6 powered mid-60s GMC farm truck. These were kind of a staple in central Kansas back in the day. All farmers had one, sometimes they had several of them depending on how big they were and how much grain they had to harvest. But this is a fairly straight old truck. Like I said, Tractor Mike was using it up until a few years ago. But he said he was bringing it home, and this is what he saw, and this is why he loaded it up. This truck was originally sold new here in Great Bend. So this is why he said, I was looking around the farmyard, figured this one needed to go back to Great Bend. He loaded it up and hauled it in for us, and now we get to check it out. So let's take a look at this old 4000 series GMC. It does have a big steel grain bed on it. These things were workhorses, that's what they were for. These trucks were built for one thing only, and that was to work. Now this particular truck here is really pretty solid. I mean, it hasn't been abused nearly as bad as most of these. Look how straight the running board is. I mean, the running boards always took a ton of heat. The extensions are straight. Really solid sheet metal on this old truck. We'll come around the front. We'll see the front bumpers off of it, but we know where it's at. The very unique GMC grille from the 60s, as well as the GMC only hood, and this is a pretty straight GMC hood. Over here on the passenger side, once again we see the big V6. We'll take a peek at that here in a second. But once again, really pretty straight, pretty solid. Not much rust, not much damage. For one of these old mid-60s trucks, still in pretty decent shape. Walk all the way around this big bed. And we've got the chute back here to let the grain out. And there's our bumper. This one actually an all steel bed even. So let's take a peek inside this old Jimmy. Not a terrible old truck. Really pretty solid. We look around the rockers, the floor. Just a little bit of rust starting to poke through up by the windshield, which is pretty typical of these trucks. The GMC dash, they had their own specific cluster. The GMC horn button, very similar to the Chevy, only it said GMC obviously instead of having the red bow tie in it. Radio delete, just a work truck, didn't need a radio. And let's go take a quick peek into the other side. Then we're going to pop that hood and take a look at that V6. Over here, once again, rockers look pretty good in this old truck. floors, the old GMC style glove box. They had to add their own handle to it, but it's still there. So really not in terrible shape. A few dents in the cab, things like that, but overall not too bad. But let's pop the hood, check out this V6. Now these were a very unique engine. Not very common. I think these engines were able to make a lot of torque. I think that's why they were used in these trucks. And like I said, this one was running 3, 4, 5 years ago. Everything's still pretty much intact. In fact, even the hoses don't look all that old on this one. Tractor Mike must have put hoses on this one when he was still running it. Very interesting, very unique deal. You don't see these very often anymore. What you see even less of are the V12s. Yes, believe it or not, GMC actually made an engine that were 2 of these V6s hooked together, and they made a V12 out of them. They also made some of these, and some of you guys may have seen them. This one has regular orange valve covers. And you say, why does that matter? It's an orange engine in this GMC. It's got orange valve covers. Actually, believe it or not, and I've never figured out why, but some of these V6s actually had plaid valve covers on them. Something else kind of interesting. I just don't know much about them. I've seen pictures of them. I've seen a lot of discussion about them over the years. But they actually had plaid valve covers on some of these GMC V6 engines back in the 60s. There again, this one all intact in here. We see still has this distributor, the plug wires, everything, because this one was being used up until fairly recent history. Been parked for a few years now, but a very unique engine and something you don't see a heck of a lot of anymore. And a lot of people don't even realize they ran these. But GMC did do a lot of these V6s back in the 60s. Well, there's the old 65 GMC 4000 series, courtesy of our good friend Tractor Mike. Hauled it home, brought it back to Great Bend, Kansas, where it was sold brand new at Dunan GMC back in the mid-60s. So, cool old truck. Like I said, was still being used up until fairly recent history. Pretty straight, pretty solid, not a bad old piece. So, huge thanks to Tractor Mike for thinking of us and bringing this one in. You like these old trucks, you like old cars, you like memorabilia, be sure to check out the channel, Nobody's Show. I've been buying a ton of cool stuff, and we've got a lot of cool new inventory coming up. You're not going to want to miss any of it. 65 Nova, 66 Fairlane convertible, big block Chevy station wagon, lots of old 50s cars, several more trucks. Had a lot of great stuff hitting the ground. You guys aren't going to want to miss any of it. So stay tuned for some of that. Be sure to check out some of the other videos of all the other old inventory we find, barn finds, field finds, as we drag them in here to Nobody Else's Auto. If you got any questions about this old Jimmy or any of the other 2,000 cars and trucks we've got here on the ground, just give me a call, 620-786-4428. Having a short conversation about your project, year, make, model, body style, the parts you need, or what you're looking for a project. I need as much information as I can get from you as possible to know if I may or may not be able to help you out with your project. So that's why that phone call is so important and so critical. Give me a shout, have a short conversation, see if we can help you out. So hope you enjoyed the old Jimmy. Stay tuned. We've got a ton of new stuff coming up. You're not going to want to miss any of it. Huge thanks to Tractor Mike for this one, and stay tuned. We got a lot more cool stuff coming up. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you soon on the next video.